Liturgy is not the kind of word that we'd use every day at a coffee shop. It's not like pavement or snow or dog. I mean, it's just an old word that kind of comes out of the blue to us. And liturgy really means the work of the people, or something like a public work. And hundreds of years ago, when liturgy as we know it started coming down to us, it was simply a way of saying this is what the church does together. Often in church in our lifetimes, it's been something like church is something that's done to you from the platform. What marks out liturgy as something different is that liturgy is something we do together, and we do it in conversation. So the person leading from this front says something, and the congregation or the community that's gathered says something back. And so it's an ongoing conversation, even with what we'd call the sermon. When the sermon's over, there is a response to the sermon. And so liturgy facilitates this work, or maybe the best word for us today is it facilitates this participation of the people. But that's a little bit counterintuitive, because when people think of liturgy, they picture vestments. You know, they picture a priest in a robe, or they picture collars, or they picture what's known as a stole, that long thing that looks like an extra long tie that a priest wears over them. Or maybe they picture golden candlesticks on an altar, or golden goblets and golden plates. And they think, well, what the heck does that have to do with anything? And really, all of those things have very deep historical meanings to them. For instance, let's just take what's known as the upper room discourse, where Jesus in this upper room, in this second floor room, had the last Passover meal with his disciples. Well, you'll remember that about an hour before he uttered those very famous words, whenever you pass this cup or whenever you break this bread, do it in remembrance of me. Well, about an hour before that, when they first got into the room, Jesus noticed that there was no one there, no servant, to wash the disciples' feet. So he takes off his own outer garments, and he puts a towel over his shoulders and one around his waist, and he goes around and he washes the disciples' feet. And as he takes the towel back with the dirty basin to put it in the corner of a room somewhere, he says to his first friends, "See, I've now set an example for you to follow." And so when you see me with a stole over my shoulders on a Sunday night sometime or a Sunday morning, what you're actually seeing is a symbol of this pattern that Jesus said we were supposed to follow in washing the world's feet. So liturgy is just simply a way of using these symbols to remind us who we are in this story that we're supposed to be embodying, this continuing story of Jesus through our lives as Christians. And it's a way of doing it together so that it's the work of the people, not the work of a priest or a pastor or a minister, but it's the work of the people, this engaging, participatory, conversational way of doing church.